Gentlemen, welcome to week 6. We got an issue on our hands. Let's talk about it here. We have 6 teams at 3-2. 6 teams at 3-2. I don't know what to make of this. I thought that I had a good read on maybe where the playoff teams would land. And I really thought that the Crusaders, the Troop, and the Pigs have kind of separated themselves at the bottom, and we were really going to have, a couple of spots at the end that were being fought for. But holy shit, we got an issue in terms of how tight this league is going to end up, and there's no clear path here for anybody. I mean, it is a jumbled mess at the moment. Let's recap our scores from week 5. Bond County Coonhounds taking care of business against Bear Boobs, who put up a really good fight. This was not a gimme. Sam gave me his best in a very bad bye week for Sam. And I have significantly underrated Sam up to this point. I think he's kind of just played sleeper, but he's been really consistent outside of one bad week. So Coonhounds take care of business. Clark County Crusaders, by the skin of their nuts, avoid giving the Shadow Troop their first win. In an absolute fucking rock fest, we had the Hitmen take care of the Cali Pigs. The St. Louis Looters fall just short of giving Dragon his first loss. And then the Beecher Creatures, who at the beginning of the week, we thought were going to have a very off week, but the Tennessee Colonels don't come to play and drop a big one that in my opinion, I think they should have won. And we'll talk about that as we get into the rankings. So heading into week 6, we've got the Coonhounds and the Shadow Troop, the Bear Boobs against the Huntsville Hitmen. The Clark County Crusaders taking on the Dallas Dragons, Cali Pigs, and the Creatures, and the Looters against the Colonels. Okay, so let's talk about the number 10 team. I think we all know where I'm heading with this. It's got to be the Cali Pigs. Although I will say made a very, very good trade on his behalf today. We had some big trades today. The trade, let's see here. Let's look at the, let's see here. Here it is. Ryan gets Xavier Worthy with 3 years of control. Jaleel McLaughlin, which I really like, with 3 years of control. He gets a first-round draft pick, and the Beecher Creatures acquire Jaden Reed. I think this is very good for Ryan. Obviously, Rex really wanted Jaden Reed, but I think this sets up Ryan big time for the future. I think this is absolutely a move that he needed to make. And but unfortunately, right now, Ryan's still at the bottom. And he's going to be there. I would like to think not the rest of the year, but we'll see how the Shadow Troop does. The Shadow Troop has their best week that they've had up to this point, and the Shadow Troop still fall. They can't get on the board. The Shadow Troop are at number 9. Shadow Troop also had a large trade today. We had the Coonhounds and the Shadow Troop in an absolute blockbuster of a trade. Jamar Chase goes to the Coonhounds. The Shadow Troop acquire 2 first-round picks, Isaiah Pacheco, who he'll have next year, Jalen Waddle, who he'll also have next year, and then Demario Douglas, who he'll have for the next 3 years, and Mark Andrews. I think this gives Parker some players to obviously play this year, but then sets him up for a very, very good 2025, where he already has an insane amount of first round draft picks. So it's basically going to be Parker picking who he wants in the first round. Parker is at number 9. Number 8, I feel like I have to put him here because he's 2 and 3, and then we'll sort out the 3 and 2 issues. The Clark County Crusaders are at number 8. Now, let me say this. They are appearing more and more like a staple spoiler team. I mean, in week 5, he scores 143. And the week before that, he almost takes out the Coonhounds, losing by 8 points. In week 3, he scores 131. This isn't a low scoring. This team is a team that you absolutely do not want to play right now. They are very consistent. I have a hard time putting them at 8 because I could argue that some 3 and 2 teams should be at 8. But for right now, I'm going to keep them at 8. Although I do not want to play the Clark County Crusaders right now. I'll say that. And with where all the 3 and 2 teams are, it only takes a couple of teams for Dylan to immediately step into that playoff conversation. I think that absolutely is in the foreseeable future. Dylan Murphy says the Looters are at 8, and he is 4 and 1 with his schedule. Now, this is an argument to be had. The Looters have 560 points scored against them. He has also scored 676 points, so let's now also not ignore that. Because out of the 3 and 2 teams, he is the highest scoring 3 and 2 team. So you can't also ignore that. But that is an issue with how I score the Looters. We talked about this last week. Nobody loves the look of the Looters, but they're consistent, and you can't knock that. And honestly, consistency at this point is winning games over just blowing people out of the water. So with number 7, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers here, I have the Huntsville Hitmen. The Huntsville Hitmen fall out of the top 6 after previously, I believe they were in the top 4. Michael says that the Looters are the redheaded stepchild of the league. They're the redheaded stepchild, but imagine if the redheaded stepchild was good at sports. Nobody likes them still, but they're winning is the issue. Imagine this has all of the resemblance of Ryan last year. It has all the resemblance of Ryan of last year. It shouldn't make sense, but it's working. And I don't think he has it down to a science. I think there's certainly a level of luck here. And will that level of luck run out? Possibly. But let's talk about the Hitmen for just a second. We've got some consistency issues here. All right. 96 last week, 104 the week before. He scored 130 in week 3. In week 2, he had 114. And in week 1, he had 128. Okay, so he's been above 130 once. But maybe we misread this team. I'm not sure. I love this team on paper, but I'm concerned about the consistency of the output. Now, this team has all of the tools to be a top tier team, but it's just with an issue of everybody kind of being around that level at the moment. I can't, in good faith, put them at 5 or above. And other teams are performing too well or above what I thought they should have been to give Michael the nod above where he's at 7. Speaking of moving above 7, I'm not going to continue to discount Sam. Sam is at number 6. Sam Hodges has consistently performed, and I have severely underrated him continually, week in and week out. Michael says it's a fair ranking for now. We need to get the health figured out. I 100% agree. I think the team is very good, but everybody is on a level playing field right now at the moment, and it's very hard to really pick out anybody besides Dragon at the moment. So even at the moment. But Sam, I have continued to underrate, and I think he could arguably even be above 6. Week 4, he scores 138. Week 3, he scores 153. Week 2, he has his dud. And then in the first week, he scored 120. He's continued to produce, and he's run into some buzzsaws. Last week, he performed really well, and he was on an awful bye week for himself. And I think that's scarier than anything. So I currently have Sam at number 6. He easily could be in the top 5, but we'll get into. And Rex thinks he's a top 4 team. Again, I agree. I think that from the optics of it, bird's eye view, if you're just looking at the teams on paper, I think you want to drop the looters and you want to move Sam up. You could even, honestly, you could really argue that the Colonels move down 1 and Sam moves above the Colonels. And this is where I was really wrestling with in these rankings. Sam and the Colonels were back to back, especially with the issues that the questions of Tyreek Hill right now. It was hard for me to put Sam at 6, but that puts him in the playoffs, and I very much think he's a playoff team. Moving on to number 5, we have the Tennessee Colonels. Okay. We have the Tennessee Colonels at 5. Very solid running back room. MHJ continues to improve. Brian Thomas Jr. is incredible. And again, we have to talk about Tyreek Hill and the questions of the Miami Dolphins offense. Nico Collins also hurt. Tua and that stack with Tyreek Hill, also an issue. Losing Rashee Rice also hurt. This team is one of the only teams that you could argue we're going to be able to take that onslaught of injuries that Chase had to face. He is lucky to be 3-2, but he's had some real issues with output, kind of similar to Michael, just not as bad. He drops 154 in week 4 and scores 128. Dylan says the Colonels are soft as baby food and can't trade. I will vouch that Chase does have an issue with overvaluing players in trades, but that's just personal experience. 125 again, and he had the incredible week 1. I'm just concerned. There's too many question marks revolving around the Colonels right now, and that's why I have them at 5. But I certainly think that they are a playoff capable team. But this is an injury list that we're just going to have to closely monitor as we continue to rank them in the weeks to come. Moving up to number 4, we have the Bond County Coonhounds. I did not want to put myself any higher because still some questions in this lineup. But as Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers continue to light it the fuck up, the Coonhounds have a chance. Lamar Jackson, not to be discredited, is also incredible. The Coonhounds make a massive move for Jamar Chase, the number one wide receiver currently. And this team got a big piece. They lost some depth for sure. They have a bunch of handcuffs at the moment and really only 2 solid flex players. And then they have Jordan Love as a backup quarterback at the moment. Depth is an issue. A massive injury could cripple this team in 1 second. But I felt like I had to make a move and I had to differentiate myself. And so that's where I had to go. Number 3, I have the St. Louis Looters. Looters top 3, highly debatable, but hey, the Crusaders love a top 3 team win. The Crusaders are good. I told you this at the beginning of the video. The Crusaders are good. But guys, we cannot discount what the St. Louis Looters have done. I refuse to bag on this team when they continue to win. They scored 133 last week in almost giving Dragon his first loss. And then the week before that, they scored 145. Now, granted, he played the Shadow Troop, but if he would have played anybody else besides Chase, he wins. Week 3, he scores 127 in a very close loss against the Clark County Crusaders. And he beats quite a few other teams in that week. Week 2, he drops 148. And in week 1, he scores 123. This team has the lowest floor of all of the teams, of all of our teams so far, which is consistency, which is why I have him where I have him at the moment. I could arguably have him 2. Dylan says, get off the peyote, Coonhounds at 3. No, not yet. Not yet. The Coonhounds may have their day, but we got to see. I could arguably put the Looters at 2, and I almost did. But again, with everybody being at 3 and 2, I have an issue. Consistently frauds. Hey, he's a team that everybody loves to hate, and I totally get that. But I don't see it. I think they're consistent. I don't like his team, but it takes a bigger man to admit that something is ugly, but it works. And that's where he's at the moment. And I think like I said earlier, it has all of the makeup of what Ryan looked like last year. And I want you guys to come back to this video when Torbeck is in the playoffs and he's winning in the playoffs. And Commissioner Murph told you that he's consistent. He's going to continue to win. So that's where I'm at with the Looters right now. I hope I eat my words, but right now, the dude's consistent. At number 2, we have the Beecher Creatures. I think this team is solid. This team has a very good starting roster. I have been wrong about Drake London consistently for the past few weeks. I'm not a Drake London guy, but I have been wrong about Drake London. He used to be a Coonhound, and under the Kirk Cousins regime in Atlanta, he has played well, and he has continued to get targets. He has a high snap percentage. He's always on the field. Amon-Ra St. Brown, huge target in Detroit. He's very scary. The addition of Jaden Reed is very, very good. Script dependent, Zay Flowers, but man, is he good. And Jared Goff as his number 2 quarterback outside of Jalen Hurts, very, very good. This team is solid and it is very deep and it has all the makings of a playoff team. It would be shocking to me if this team does not make the playoffs. I think this is the best 3-2 team built for whatever could be thrown at them going forward. And then we have Dragon at number 1. He's 5-0. He is very consistent, and his team is good. I hate to continue to gas him up, but Kyler Murray is vintage Kyler Murray, if you want to call it whatever that is, vintage. He's playing like he was 2 years ago. Jaden Daniels is incredible. This team is also built very, very good. And look out for it. Jets with removing Saleh. Jets might be up in terms of offensive production. So watch out for Garrett Wilson in the coming weeks. You heard it here first. Anytime touchdown bettors, Garrett Wilson or Tyler Conklin. Those two. This team is also good. It's, we all know that Dragon was going to be number 1. He's 5-0. He could take a week off and it not be an issue, but that's where we're at the moment. Let's make some predictions. Coonhounds take care of business against the Shadow Troop. Feels wrong because I traded with him today, but should take care of business. This matchup right here. Oh, man, we have 2 matchups of the week, in my opinion. This is juicy. Bear Boobs and Hitman. Sound off in the comments. Who is winning against Sam and Michael? I think that I've got to bet on Sam with how he's been producing. I would like to see, this might be the first week that the Clark County Crusaders the Clark County Crusaders favored against Dragon is very, very interesting. Dylan says, boobs. He's got his bet on boobs. Hitman on top. Hitman. All right. I'm rolling with what history has told me up to this point, and Sam's scary. Clark County Crusaders, I would like to say take care of Dragon, but Dragon's too good. He's too good. He'll move to 6-0, unfortunately, I think. But Dylan is scary. But I don't know if this is the week. But he can afford it being at 5-0. The Cali Pigs taking on the Beecher Creatures. Another 2 owners that traded with each other this week in the same week that they're playing each other. Beecher Creatures should move to 4-2. And then the St. Louis Looters taking on the Tennessee Colonels. If you are... I don't even want to ask those of you in the comments who you think is going to win because I know who you guys are going to say. You guys can sound off if you want. But I've got to take the Looters here. They're too consistent and they continue to put up numbers. And so I'm going to have to take the Looters in this matchup. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. I appreciate you all stopping by. And Dylan thinks that this is going to be Hitler versus Satan. No winner, please. I would say couldn't agree more, but I think I'm rooting for the Looters this week, if I have to say so myself. All right, thank you guys. I will see you all in week 7.